Hey there, Econ folks. This is Mr. Hooker, and today we are going to look at the first principles of economics. So, this is the basics of what you need to know if you are going to take an economics course. And you are signed up for my economics course, so I assume you want to take an economics course. That's a long way to say that, right? So, let's just kind of get into it. Um, it's not too very terribly bad. So, the first thing is basically individual choice. Choices are necessary. Why? Resources are scarce. Like you can't have everything you want. You are old enough to know that. So I hope I'm not breaking your heart, but you can't have everything. We have to make choices. So resources are anything that can be used to produce something else. Um, think of it like wood, the trees that are out there, oil, anything plastic. And actually, oil is used to make plastic, but there's all kinds of things that are resources. So anything that's resource, aluminum, metal, those are all resources. They are used to make things. So a resource is scarce when there's not enough of the resource to satisfy all the various ways a society wants to use it. So how do we know how scarce a resource is? Simple. Price. The more expensive something is, the more scarce it is. Price is our signal. It's a rationing function, right? So something that's really cheap, we're basically telling you, hey, don't worry about it. If you mess it up, you can get another one really cheap. Something that's really expensive, what we're telling you is, yeah, you might want to be a little more careful with that. Because if it's going to cost you $1 million to get another one, you really don't want to mess that one up. So it is that way to it's that kind of thing. So it's extremely expensive. Then we're telling you it's really scarce. Be careful with the one you got. Okay. The true cost of something is its opportunity cost, and opportunity cost has absolutely nothing to do with money. So opportunity cost is all about what you have to give up in order to get what you want or to get something else. So, um, so basketball player Jalen Lewis understood that concept and chose overtime elite over college. Um, so didn't go to college, but went to something basically like the G League. That's a thing. Um, but you have these kinds of things that happen all the time. So let me give you an example. Let's say that you go to the vending machine, you put $2 into the vending machine, immediately everything's open to you, but you don't want everything that's in there. Immediately, like some of that stuff just falls off. Like you just don't want it, right? And so you start thinking and you get it down, and finally you realize I either want a Snickers or some peanut M&Ms, right? Those are the two things that you are really trying to decide between. Now, you hit the button and assuming you hit the right button, because occasionally people hit the wrong buttons and that's just a disaster. But assuming you hit the right buttons, a Snicker falls. So your opportunity cost of that Snickers is not the $2 you put in, because when you put $2 in, you were going to get something. So the opportunity cost of that Snickers is a pack of peanut M&Ms. That was your next best alternative. So it is what you could do if you had not done that. So think about like taking this class or studying for this class. What is your next best alternative? Work, going out with friends, stuff like that, right? So I get it. I'm an economist. I understand, the concept of opportunity cost a little better than a lot of other instructors. But when you start telling other instructors, like I ain't going to class, the opportunity cost is too high, they get a little upset. So just understand that. So the other thing is marginal decision making, right? Um, so how much of something you should do is always a decision at the margin. So we got trade-offs, which is comparison of cost benefits of doing something. Y'all been doing this since y'all were like 5, 6 years old, making pro con lists and stuff like that. We won't charge you for past acts, but you've been doing this for a minute. So marginal decisions are decisions at the margin about whether to do a bit more or a bit less of something. So we don't look at like, I'm going to quit completely. It's all about, these are those things about like, should I do a little bit more, a little bit less? So we'll talk a little bit more about Monday Morning Economist and these other things a little bit later in the class. But at the moment, and there's a really good one. I think it's on Econ Nerds about like sometimes the best option is to just quit. But these are those decisions about should you do just a little bit more, maybe a little bit less. That's marginal analysis. So that's 1 unit more, 1 unit less. That's what marginal is. Marginal just means next or one additional, right? So what we're talking about is comparing your marginal benefits and your marginal cost. So when you do a pro con list, your marginal benefits are your pros, your marginal costs are your cons. And as everyone that's ever done one of these lists knows, if your pros are greater than your cons, you should do the activity. What a lot of people don't realize is if your pros are equal to your cons, you also should do the activity. As long as your marginal benefit is at least equal to your marginal cost, the activity should be undertaken. It is only if your marginal cost is greater than your marginal benefit that you should not do it. So if marginal cost is greater than marginal benefit, don't do it. If marginal benefit is equal to or greater than your marginal cost, go for it. That is the economic way of thinking. Just saying. All right. Next up, people respond to incentives. All right. We always are looking for opportunities to make ourselves better off. So, what is an incentive? Anything that offers rewards for people to change their behavior. So, you have different countries, European countries especially, have actually like little groups, little governmental groups that are incentive groups. So they are groups in charge of designing incentives to get people to do the things that the government wants them to do, which is insane, but they do. England had one. A couple of the Norwegian countries have one, or Scandinavian countries, not Norway is a country. So a couple of the Scandinavian countries had one. It's crazy, but basically they want the people to save money, be healthier, um, because basically that saves money for the country in the long run. So paying, 5 people a decent salary to get people to incentivize people to do things that would save the country more money later is a win. So the way it looks like in the US is what policy would more effectively reduce pollution, educating manufacturers about climate change, or offering them financial rewards for reducing pollution. Obviously, if you pay them to reduce pollution, they're going to reduce pollution. If you just tell them climate change bad, they'll be like, yeah, you're probably right. And they'd still pollute. And it's just, it's common sense. They are going to do this thing um, more if if you get them that way, if you just pay them to do it. So suppose Costco offers unlimited free samples on the weekends and customers respond by eating samples until they are full without buying any of the product. Um, do the customers that eat the free samples face an opportunity cost? Yeah, they could have been doing something else. One, they went to Costco, and if you've ever been to a Costco, the parking is crazy. There's a ton of people, even without all the free samples. So, like, if everybody knows there's free samples on the weekend, even more people are going to show up. So you got a time problem. Um, it's just a giant time suck. So, plus you had to buy a membership to get in. So, yes, you faced an opportunity cost, whether you know it or not. So suppose Costco offers unlimited free samples on the weekends and customers respond by eating samples till they're full. Economists refer to this as an example of bad incentives. Crash Course Economics is a great video. It's also linked in your course. So um, there you go. So we do get gains from trade. So it's almost like discovering a new technology for a nation. So if you have trade, it's like discovering a new, if you trade with another country, it's like discovering a new technology. So for the macro folks, we'll talk about it. Actually, for both classes, we'll talk about that. Um, so trade allows us all to consume more than we otherwise could. Um, that all arises from specialization. So make the things you're good at, make the goods that you have a comparative advantage in, trade for the other goods. Don't try to make everything, because if you try to make everything, you're going to suck at some of those things. You'll make some things pretty good, you'll suck at other things. And those goods that you're not so good at will become very expensive and it will not go well for your country. Um, so specialization is the situation where each person specializes in the task they're good at. So that's what you want to do. So markets will always move toward equilibrium, just naturally move toward equilibrium. That's what you want. Um, it'll happen. You don't have to do anything to get it there. Um, It's just a natural thing. So natural movement is always toward equilibrium. Now the government may do some things. They may put in some price controls to stop it from getting to equilibrium. We could have a price ceiling, a price floor, but naturally we are going to move toward equilibrium. Now, that being said, let me point this out and we'll get to this a little bit later in chapter 3, but it's not always neat and pretty. It can be messy, it can be time consuming, it can be a lot of different things. Okay. So, what is equilibrium? It's just the economic situation in which no individual will be better off doing something different. Um, it's where everybody is um, in their place. Now, not everybody's happy, but it is where the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied, whether that be labor or goods. Next up, resources should be used efficiently to achieve society's goals. Um, Efficiency is a big topic in economics. You have whole sets of economists that are dealing with efficiency. I'm not really one of them. I deal with efficiency on the business side, not the economic side. It's really weird, but as an economist, but whatever. Um, but the economy is efficient if it takes all opportunities to make some people better off without making other people worse off. So that's the efficiency we're looking at. We got two kinds of efficiency. So we got productive efficiency and we have allocative efficiency. So productive efficiency is basically producing at the lowest cost, right? So I'm making something and I get the resources at the lowest cost. I produce at the lowest cost. And you see this now where people are like busting unions. They're trying to get the lowest cost goods and they're producing some in some cases crap goods, but they are producing at the lowest cost. So they're paying their labor almost nothing. They are getting really crap resource, they're getting really low cost resources and they're producing everything at the lowest cost. And it really looks cheap. It's cheap. Um, and this is the joke where, back when I was a kid, like this, all the stuff that came from China, it was just going to break in a week. But it was really cheap. And then you have allocative efficiency, which is producing only the goods that society wants. So assume that society only wants red wagons. So radio flyer wagons, they come in like 5 different colors, but assume that people only want the traditional red wagons. They want 1,000 of them or 10,000 of them, let's say. Radio Flyer produces 10,000 red wagons and people buy them, and that is allocative efficiency. So allocative efficiency is producing what the goods that are most optimally desired by society. But equity is the condition where everyone gets their fair share. There's a lot of different versions of that. but equity and efficiency are not really the same thing. So there's that. We will get into the rest of this in video 2. So I will see you there.